Welcome to NHL Quick Hits. I'm David Crosby here with Steele Roden to preview the second round series between the Carolina Hurricanes and Tampa Bay Lightning, which pits the defending Stanley Cup champions against the top team in their division. The Predators gave the Hurricanes a bit of a scare after knotting up their first round series at 2, but Carolina finished them off with 2 straight overtime wins. In fact, the final 4 games of that series needed overtime, a lot closer than a lot of people were expecting. The Lightning also needed 6 games to dispatch Florida in round 1, but they never trailed or shared the lead in the series after winning game 1, and they finished that one up with a dominant 4-0 win in game 6, dating back to last year's Cup run. That is 5 straight series wins for Tampa in 6 games or less. Now, this is the first time these two teams have met in the playoffs, and frankly, neither team has that many weaknesses. Both have stellar goaltending, elite special teams play, and good offensive production. The return of Nikita Kucherov, though, has given Tampa a huge boost. He led all first-round scorers with 11 points, including a ridiculous 7 on the power play. He helped the Bolts score on 40% of their opportunities with the man advantage. Carolina, though, were better than 88% on the penalty kill against Nashville, and they had the third best penalty kill in the regular season. So, Steele, do you think the Hurricanes can stifle the Lightning's deadly power play?
Yeah, it's going to be a big test for the Carolina Hurricanes. We know how vital Kucherov and Stamkos them coming back into the lineup, how great their power play has been and how dominant it's been in the playoffs so far. But with Hedman, running the power play at the top of the blue line, and Stamkos over on the left, Kucherov on the right, Braden Point in the middle, and then Killorn in front of the net. They have so many options to work with there. Both Kucherov and Stamkos love to take those one-timers, but Kucherov also likes to slide the puck back door over to Braden Point or Alex Killorn, who can tap the puck in right at the front of the net. So they have so many pieces to work with there. It's one of the best power plays in the NHL, if not the best. But I have a lot of faith in the Carolina Hurricanes. One of the best teams defensively. They have such great defensemen in Jakob Slavin and Brett Pesce, who has really stepped up this playoffs, this postseason so far, as well as Dougie Hamilton. So they have the defenseman capabilities. Their forwards are great on the back check and help in the defensive zone. So and we've seen it all series long, not just with the Carolina Hurricanes, but block shots and getting your sticks in lanes are a vital piece in making sure that the puck doesn't get through to your goaltender. So with that being said, we've seen it all series long with all the teams so far in the postseason, just making sure that your sticks in the lane and getting your body in front of the puck, so the puck doesn't reach your goaltender.
I love when we get to see these strength on strength matchups and see which one comes out on top. And it's funny when you're listing off Tampa Bay's power play one there, it was almost like the starting lineup of an all-star game, at least 80% of it. It's crazy how much talent they have there in Tampa Bay. But let's go back to the Hurricanes and how great they are defensively. It was a little bit of a surprise there. They allowed the first goal in 5 of 6 games against the Predators. Now, they still ended up winning 3 of them, but I don't think they can pull that off against Tampa. The Lightning went 22-4-1 in the regular season when scoring first. Now, if you're Carolina, do you maybe sacrifice some of that defense at the start of games to try to maybe make that extra push on offense and get that first goal? Or are you just sticking to your game plan?
I'd be sticking to my game plan. And like you said it right there, you can't go down a couple of goals with the Tampa Bay Lightning and it's going to be a tough time trying to claw your way back into the game. Like, it was kind of easier against the Nashville Predators just because the Carolina Hurricanes are a dominant team and have been for the last couple of seasons. But like I said, with the New York Islanders, I think great defense generates great offense. And obviously that didn't work for the Islanders last night when they lost 5-2. But I still believe in what I say there with the great defense generates great offense. So I think they got to stand their ground and just really stand in their defensive zone and work from there, work from the defensive zone and going forward. So I just truly believe, like I said, like I mentioned, with the defense that they have in Hamilton and Pesce and Slavin, who have really stepped up in that first round series, I think you got to take it from the defense and work your way up from there. And generate offense that way. Because if you're trying to, push for goals and get the first goal in the game and you get caught lacking and the Tampa Bay Lightning will take advantage of that. So I think you got to stand your ground defensively and just work your way up front there.
Well, we already talked about Kucherov right off the top and how great he's looked. Who should the Canes be paying extra attention to?
Yeah, there's just so many players that the Hurricanes need to keep an eye for, and really need to keep their head on a swivel for when they're on the ice and when someone else is on the ice, because just have so many deadly forwards. Their defense as well. So, quite honestly, they got to keep their head on a swivel for everybody. But one guy I'm really looking forward to is Anthony Cirelli. This is a guy who really struggled towards the end of the regular season. He only recorded 1 point in his last 23 games in the regular season. So a guy who really struggled this season, only recording 22 points in 50 games. But, in that first round against the Panthers, he really found his groove. He got his mojo back there. 2 goals, 2 assists. He was really found his confidence. He was skating fast with the puck, going hard to the net. I think that's a guy who really can make a difference in this series for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Obviously, keeping in mind that the Tampa Bay Lightning, you got to keep your head on a swivel with guys like Stamkos, Kucherov, Hedman, as well as Braden Point. So that's just one of the guys that I would keep an eye out for.
Yeah, great pick. Cirelli, one of my favorite two-way players in the game right now. And you mentioned him to me, it's Victor Hedman. He had 8 points in those 6 games against Florida. That's more than any Carolina player had against Nashville. So that just shows you how great Tampa Bay is. On the other side, though, who are you looking towards to lead Carolina if they're going to win this series?
Yeah, well, besides Sebastian Aho, I think their young, talented guys really need to step up. Sebastian Aho has been by far their best player for the Carolina Hurricanes, but they can't continue to take penalties. We just talked about how dominant the power play that Tampa Bay Lightning is. So they can't continue to take penalties. Teuvo Teravainen and Warren Foegele have a combined 20 penalty minutes in that first round against the Nashville Predators, and only have 4 points combined between those two guys as well. So those young guys really need to stay out of the box. You need to get the young guys into the game like Teuvo Teravainen and Andrei Svechnikov. A little bit towards the end of the season, Teuvo Teravainen was getting back in the groove because obviously he dealt with some injuries. He had concussion. He was on COVID protocol, as well as Andrei Svechnikov, who was really dwindling off towards the end of the regular season. So I think he really needs to step up going in round 2 against this defending champion team in the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I'm looking towards the young guys that really need to help out Sebastian Aho up front.
Should be mentioned, Jordan Staal has been great all year. He really came through for Carolina in that first round, but I'm looking at Dougie Hamilton. He averaged 26 and a half minutes in that series against Nashville. He's basically on the ice half the game for Carolina. He's going to need to be amazing on both ends for the Hurricanes to win this series. Steele, prediction time. How do you see this series playing out?
Yeah, I think I've got the Carolina Hurricanes in 6 games here, and I think the Carolina Hurricanes need to go over to Peter Mrazek to start Game 1 of this second round series. I love Alex Nedeljkovic. He's been a stud and a great goaltender for the Hurricanes all season long. I just believe throughout the entire series against the Nashville Predators, every single game he got a little bit worse and worse. So I just think it kind of wore on him a little bit. Towards those 2 games that they lost, as well as like you said, Nashville scored the first 5 goals, first goal in 5 of those 6 games. So I think as the games went on, he got a little bit worse to start those games. The first goal, he allowed his first goal on 9 shots. It seemed like every single game that he played, which he played all 6 games. So I think going up against the Tampa Bay Lightning, they got to go with Peter Mrazek to start Game 1, change things up a little bit, maybe give Nedeljkovic some rest time. But I've got the Hurricanes in 6 games.
That'd be an interesting curveball just to go with Mrazek right off the bat. I do think they give Ned a chance in Game 1. I would not be surprised if we saw Mrazek in this series. They'll maybe play more than 1 game. This was a tough series for me, but just after seeing how good Tampa Bay was and how they made Florida almost look pedestrian in that first round. And Florida was one of the best teams in the league the entire year. I just have to stick with Tampa Bay here, and I'm going to go with them in 7. That's going to do it for today's preview. On behalf of Steele Road, I'm David Crosby, and thanks for tuning in to NHL Quick Hits.